Second off, how does it make it any better if he's the son of any other god in the world? Third off, that single fact doesn't make him any more important than any other character concept. Dungeons & Dragons is about us being able to live our fantasies. Everyone's character concept, no matter how wacky or dramatic, is valid, as long as it doesn't break the rules of the game, which I'm not. Your position is not to dictate to us what our characters can and can't be. It's to facilitate a fun game and a coherent narrative with what we bring to the table. Nothing about my character inherently prevents anyone from having fun or breaks the narrative, as long as I play in the rules and prioritize the others over myself, which I plan to do. You've never even DM'd for us, so what's the harm in giving me a chance?
Okay, DMs have to say no sometimes. This is one of the things I'm saying no to. I will not be talked to in a condescending manner over this right before it even begins. Therefore, the one-shot is postponed, and you can find someone else to run Curse of Strahd. Good luck finding someone to let you be the son of Strahd, though. Peace. I don't know, DM. Overreact much? All he wanted was to be the main character of your game. With all of the motivation, the plot hooks, the story revolving around him, since he's literally the son of the BBEG, I'm sure the players wouldn't mind the swift kick in the balls you'd be delivering to them.
Please, this isn't a bar fight. Have some class.
My name is Jacob Crowe, and welcome to the Crow's Perch. Today's story is about a Pathfinder 1st Edition game, where two players go out of their way to gatekeep a young new player. To those of you who are not entirely aware of what gatekeeping is, let me put it this way. Say you're little Johnny 5th Edition. You really love playing 5th Edition Dungeons & Dragons with all of your friends, and you think it's really cool. You love watching Bathu Bursar on Critical Mole every Tuesday at 7 a.m. Pacific, as it always airs. And you decide to go on the internet to tell people, man, I sure love 5th Edition Dungeons & Dragons, and I love Critical Mole. I can't wait to see next episode.
You just started Critical Mole? What kind of fan are you? I've been watching Critical Mole for 10 years, and I've seen every single episode.
I hate you! I hate Critical Mole!
Whoa, guys, can we all just stop fighting and play
I
Fate?
bet you don't even know Kersey's twice-removed sister's maiden name from the supplementary comic issue number 69.
You like Critical Mole? Okay, name every character up to Season 3, Episode 395.
Critical Mole is for losers. I watch Zone of Adventure, which totally isn't problematic.
I know no one in the entire vlogging world asked, but can I tell you guys about GURPS? You see, in GURPS, you can do pretty much—
Preposterous. You rubes play 5th Edition. Laughs in Esoteric Dungeon Landmaker 1784 Habsburg Monarchy Edition.
I don't like 5e, and I don't even like RPGs, actually, and I'm just here for the discourse.
Oh, poor little Johnny 5e. He made the fatal mistake of sharing his opinions online, only to be beset by gatekeepers.
Little Johnny would grow up one day to make Iron Swan, the greatest game to ever exist.
With that example of gatekeeping out of the way, let's gather up a murder and dive right into this story. This was a Pathfinder 1st Edition game. Relevant people were myself as a ratfolk alchemist, DM's father as a half-orc paladin, DM's mother as a half-elf cleric, and a rookie player in his mid-teens as a tiefling necromancy wizard. I will refer to the relevant individuals as me, myself, and I, DM, paladin, cleric, and wizard in that order. So, I had a time slot available in my week and sought out a new game. I joined a group that a mutual friend knew was starting. Friend was in the group, but not relevant to the story aside from that. The game started out fine enough. We woke up in hell, having apparently been sacrificed, and managed to make a jailbreak and flee through a portal still open. We were all branded by the devil we were sacrificed to, however. Not super relevant, but the premise of the game was pretty neat. Our first main plot mission was to stop a retributive fiendish invasion that was launched against the city we'd appeared in, as the devils blamed them for sheltering us. We failed to defend the town in a scripted event and fled. We sheltered in a hidden ruin and found it was actually occupied by the same cult that was chasing us. Naturally, we took the opportunity to take a bit of revenge ourselves, wiping that local sect out. The trouble started when we found the cult's unholy tome. The cleric and paladin's divine sense detect it was radiating fiendish magic. We couldn't immediately identify what, if any, properties it had, and then the problem started. My alchemist and my friend's rogue wanted to take the book to see if we could learn more about the cult, their intentions, and their capabilities from their own texts. The paladin and the cleric vehemently disagreed, wanting only to destroy the text, which was fair enough. They both worshipped the same deity, and both being understandably against the devils, however much they blustered. However, my friend and I managed to convince them to take the book with us through the pragmatism of knowing my enemy, and also a little bit of we utterly lack the capability of destroying this magic tome right now, and leaving it here risks it being retrieved by someone that might be aligned with the cult. So we went to take the book, but only the paladin or cleric were allowed to touch it, as the god of knowledge I worshipped and the god of luck and thievery that the rogue worshipped as laymen didn't count as true piety. Only the pious could be trusted to not misuse the book. It was annoying, but the paladin was incredibly boisterous and argumentative. I should have taken it as a sign and left, but I was hopeful that maybe their intention was to have an arc of growing to trust our less devout characters, so I trucked on. A couple sessions later, a new player was added to the group. He was introduced as brand new to tabletop, and not only that, but he was maybe 14, 15 at oldest. Note that I was at the time the youngest member, at 26. I wasn't comfortable with a teenager joining, and voiced my concern for the dark themes the game had. Prior in the game, my alchemist had been infected by a fiendish zombie's strike, burrowing a hellish parasite into her skin, which she then had to guide the rest of the party into removing via surgery, with no time for anesthetics or restraints. Merely another player's barbarian holding her down while the others cut the hellworm out. The parasite, we'd been informed, would instantly kill my character in about 3 to 4 rounds as it burrowed into her brain and devoured it. The surgery was a success, but the dark tone had been set. I was fine with such a dark fantasy, but subjecting a brand new teen to this was a bit much. They dismissed my concerns and said he was mature for his age, and he was allowed to join. He was a very excitable rookie that knew exactly what he wanted to play, a tiefling necromancer. Let me pause this story just for a second to bring something up. Mature for his age. I'm sorry, but what a teenager thinks a dark game is, and what an adult thinks a dark game is, are two very, very different things. Oh god, wait, am I gatekeeping? Anyway, back to the story. He asked if it was okay to play one, and the DM agreed. He asked for help, and I decided if he was going to be a player, I might as well help him play what he'd enjoy, and helped him set up his character. Then, after he left the call, shift really started. The paladin laughed, and said he couldn't wait to kill the necromancer. I asked what he was talking about, and he said,
"Well, he's evil. I kill evil characters."
I asked the DM about that, and the DM flatly said,
Why, yes, all necromancers are evil, and his paladin is justified in killing him if he finds out about the necromancy.
I decided that was the last straw. I asked why they even let him play a necromancer if they were just going to kill him for it. Once more, the DM flatly said,
There's some lessons he needs to learn the hard way. If he wants to play an evil necromancer, there's consequences.
More argument. Me suggesting they simply make a non-evil necromancer possible, trying to find any sort of compromise. to keep the paladin and DM happy, while letting the kid play a build he was excited for. No budging on their end. So I took a stand against it. I told them, flatly, that their paladin and cleric had already impacted my alchemist's goodwill towards them with their prior self-righteousness and holier-than-thou attitudes. If they attacked an ally, then she will defend them. The call ended after that, and eventually, the DM got back to me that the game was cancelled. The kid was disappointed, but I helped him find a new group with players closer to his age, and offered to teach him anything else he wants to know or give him advice if he ever wants any. I then left that group that attempted to bully the kid. TLDR, veteran players make holier-than-thou assholes. DM allows a child to make a necromancer, despite their rule that all necromancers are evil. Paladin casually says he'll kill the kid's character. I threaten to light him on 3 different kinds of alchemical fire if he tries to bully a child for playing a character he didn't like, but they allowed him to make. Group ended. Kid now DMing for his own group of high schoolers, occasionally asks me for advice. This was a perfect dodge from what could have been a much, much worse horror story. The OP picked up on what was going to happen and intervened by standing up for a fellow player who could have had the entire hobby ruined for them in a single game. If it was another DM, that kind of inter-party conflict could be interesting. But this DM clearly lied about what implications playing a necromancer had in his world, just so the paladin could get him killed and so that they could mock the kid after. Good on you, OP. And I hope that kid still DMs for his friends. Thank you for tuning in to this week's story. And a special thank you for my patrons Anja and Gotia, our resident barons of Beaks, on the Crow's Perch Patreon.
Also this week, we have a special Art of the Week from user Umbriunix for the fantastic rendition of the Crow. Look at the absolute dapperness of this lad, from his feathered cap to his cute little coat and medallion, and the scroll, which I imagine bears power word cringe, cast, of course, at 10th level, stolen from the hoard of the Den of the Drake, most likely. Umbriunix, this is incredible, and your piece shall make a fine addition to the roost.
If you would like to submit your own art, be sure to post it in the Crow's Perch Discord channel, where we also submit our own horror stories, share memes, post cringe, and call Thanos at 3 a.m. with the lights off.
Dread it, run from it, don't call this number again.
But wait! And also, a special thank you to Foxy Bard for providing her voice to the opening bit. With all that out of the way, I'll see you guys next time as the crow flies.